Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted to have our food team joining us today. Scott Warner, Scott Borsotti, and Jim Weaver will be presenting on Got Labor Concerns, Leveraging Automation to Overcome the Labor Shortage. As a reminder, we are recording this webinar and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And you can find our library under our resources tab on our website at innovia.com. And we also encourage you to ask questions during the presentation. So please feel free to type them into the questions box and we will answer them at the end of our session. So now I will turn it over to Scott Warner to kick off our presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Angie. Thank you, everybody, for being able to join this morning. Like Angie said, we're going to kind of talk about got labor concerns and leveraging automation to overcome the labor shortage, kind of some issues that we're all handling. We're going to go through some just short introductions on the three of us, and then we'll kind of go through a short slide deck, and then we're going to actually have a demo on here as well. So with that, kick it off. So I'm Scott Warner, Customer Engagement Specialist here at Innovia. Below you'll see my contact information, some of my experience. I've been with Innovia for almost 2 years. This April 1st will be my 2-year mark. I've spent 5 years of experience in kind of the food grocery sector, as well as frontline manufacturing.
Good morning, I'm Scott Borsotti. I've been in the food service distribution and operations, sales management for over 25 years. I've worked with NAV and Business Central for about 18 years and have spent around 9 years in supply chain.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jim Weaver. I've been with Innovia for 14 months previous to my appointment at Innovia. I spent the last 22 years in food distribution as a sales representative and a national account executive in the various companies. Prior to that, I spent 21 years in the military in food service operations. And on my free time, while I was successfully having a great career in the military, I had part-time employment with different restaurants along the way.
Thank you, Jim.
Why Microsoft? Over the last decade, Microsoft has collaborated with businesses worldwide to enhance the user experience. Microsoft is the leader in research and development, with billions of dollars invested. Microsoft's commitment to keeping its users on the front end of technology advancements for what companies need in an ever-changing world. As I mentioned in my previous slide, Microsoft invests far more than its nearest competitor, allowing you an enhanced user experience.
Digital transformation, something that I think is kind of a buzzword today and that we're all hearing about. And it's an opportunity to engage your customers, transform your products, optimize your operations, and empower your employees. And with Business Central, this is all achievable.
Yeah, so then we're actually going to talk about why Business Central. So it's the #1 ERP software for the small to mid-sized businesses in the world, with over 200,000 customers and millions of users. Microsoft has made this the cornerstone of their business solutions platform. It directly integrates with Microsoft Office 365. So those tools you use probably every day with your Outlook, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Power BI is now becoming, and Power Apps are becoming a huge piece of that, all directly integrated with the Office Suite and Business Central. So you get that added complexity and advancement in your business, as well as it's customizable to meet your specific needs. We'll kind of talk about that on the next slide. So, like I said, it's highly customizable. Business Central is built from the ground up to meet a food operator's needs. We all know we've got those one-offs and quirkinesses about the food industry. So it's easy to modify, providing flexibility to accommodate the uniqueness of the food industry. With extensions, previously modifications, but now with extensions, your modifications are easy to carry forward for a lower cost and lower complexity. On today's demo, we're actually going to kind of talk about some of this, about that customer committed forecast and historical activity, and kind of how that AI can do some of that work for you. Again, eliminating the labor issues and letting the system do some of the work for you. And I'm sure Scott and Jim, you guys have far more years of experience in the food industry, how insanely helpful this would have been for you.
Thanks, gentlemen. With the tools within Business Central, you will have the ability to manage your business effectively, all within one platform.
Yeah, and thinking back, over the years in business, we had employees that worked with us for a long period of time, and they were the resident experts and knowledge experts. And in today's world, as we're challenged to find people and have people in the same role, that doesn't exist anymore. So we have to capitalize on the tools that are available. And this allows us to do more with less. And so what Scott's going to talk about in forecasting is helpful, where you have potentially a new person in a position that doesn't have that knowledge of what's been happening and what might happen in the future.
Yeah, really putting to work all of that historical data that you've got in activity to kind of see the trends and how AI can eliminate a person doing all of that work, and it'll just do it for you just based on your past transactions. Will be insanely helpful, I'm sure.
Automate your rebates and billbacks. With having Business Central, you can reduce your overall headcount. We all know today, with the challenging times that we are experiencing with labor shortages, having Business Central at your fingertips would benefit any company.
And as Jim mentioned about reduction in headcount, it also applies to the fact that we can't find people to perform these functions, thus leaving money on the table. And with Business Central, you have the opportunity to fulfill these needs without the need of third-party add-ons. That way you have one source of the truth. You don't have to grab data from various sources to get your answers. It all resides in Business Central.
Yeah, and I'll show that in the demo this afternoon. We're going to actually take it from a standpoint of maybe Thanksgiving and getting those turkey orders in, and how you can capitalize on that money coming in. So we'll talk about that when we get into that demo here in just a second. So I'm going to back out of this real quick, go into Business Central here. So I know this is going to look fairly new to most, if not all of you, but this is kind of our home screen here on Business Central. I know it's a lot to look at. I just want to preface that please reach out if you have any questions. Put it in the chat box, unmute yourself, and feel free to interrupt while we go through this demo. I know there's going to be a lot on this screen, and we're not going to dive real deep into any one piece, but if you have a question, please reach out. Also, if you have questions later on, you're kind of going back through your notes and reviewing, and you have questions, all of our contact information was in there, so please send Scott or Jim and I an email with any questions you may have. So with that, we'll kind of get right into it. So we'll start today with the customer committed forecast and how we forecast within Business Central. So we're going to go into our items. We've got this set up under this item here. And here's kind of our item card, and we'll spend just a second on here just to kind of give you a look at what can be all on your item card. So you've got your item number and a description as to what it is. You've got a picture over here on the right side, so you know which you're making sure that item is exactly what you're thinking you're looking at. You can also see your quantity on hand, kind of your inventory levels, your costing and postings, prices and sales. But on this right-hand side is actually where we're going to spend most of our time is here in this forecast. So if I open this up, we can actually go to forecast settings. And we're actually going to show you kind of how we set up that forecast and how the AI is actually pulling all of that information. So you've got period type. So what are we looking out towards? What do we want to know? So we want to know what the next year is going to look like for this individual product. So you've got options. We've got days, weeks, months, quarters, years. We've got ours set up for months. We're setting it out to 12 months. We want to know what the next 12 months are on this product. Down below, we've got stock out warning, which is just if the forecast is predicting that you will be out of stock in 3 months or less, it's a care. That's when we really want to make sure, all right, hey, we need to get an order in, we need to load up on this item because our forecast is saying we're going to be running out in less than 3 months. If it's greater than 3 months, I don't want that warning. All right, I know I've got 4 or 5 months till the forecast says I'm gonna run out. I know I've got orders coming in before then, so we can kind of it's kind of like a don't care, if you will. So if it's over 3, we don't care. We know we're gonna have orders coming in. If it hits 3 or less, it's gonna give me a stock out warning. Hey, you need to make a move here. As far as the API URLs and the API keys, we're gonna get into that in just a second from the Azure AI Gallery. And then we've got our variance. So I know most people are gonna have their variance on their forecast 20 to 40% is probably the average. For us to actually, because this is demo data, ours has to be set at 100%. I know that's a little unrealistic for real life scenarios, but theoretically, you'd probably set this at anywhere between 20 to 40%. Anything over 40% generally is inaccurate, but again, demo data, so bear with me just a little bit there. Then we've got our expiration period. So that is when the forecast is good until it's going to update again. So this isn't going to update every minute on the hour. This is going to update once every 7 days. This is in days, not according to our period type. So this is going to update every 7 days. You can change that. You can make it update once every day, but we'll update it once a week, 4 times a month, just kind of giving you the most accurate information up to that point for that week. So probably Monday morning is when you want it to update, and you start your week. There it is. I know exactly where I'm at, and it'll update again next Monday, or maybe it's Sunday night or something. And then historical periods. So how far back do we want to go? So for this case, we've got it set for the last 24 months. So we want to go back 24 months. What has this product done in that time? Where were the highs and lows? So we can kind of adjust accordingly, and kind of use that historical data that AI is going to come or pull from to let me know what my forecast needs to look like, when I should order more, in which months, things like that. And then you've got the time series model. Most everybody's going to use this ARIMA, ARIMA. It's the auto-regressive integrated moving average. There are other options in this dropdown. Unless you've got a degree in statistics, a lot of this isn't going to make sense to most people. So ARIMA is kind of the the go-to, kind of what everybody's going to use, unless you have a high knowledge in statistics and you can understand all of that. I personally don't. And then we're actually going to open up the AI gallery. And what this is going to do is where we're going to get our API key and URL. So what we would do is open this experiment in the Azure Machine Learning Studio. So we would open it in the studio. I'm not going to today because it has a tendency to freeze my screen. But you can actually open this, and we're coming straight from Business Central, so everything's integrated. Run it and deploy it as a web service. And then from that web service, you'll actually copy that API key and the API URL. You can go back into Business Central and paste those in and have it run the forecast. And it'll actually be able to create this forecast for you based on all that information. Down below, and I know this is a little small, so I can see if I can blow it up just a little bit. But this is it's a breakdown of what is coming in and where all of that information is being pulled from, how it's coming back and going through the AI, Azure AI Gallery, and then back into our system to know where we're getting those numbers in that forecast. This is kind of where all the AI is happening. And I know that there's, I mean, we could spend hours on just this screen here and talking about everything that's on here. I want to get to some other topics, so I don't want to spend all of our time here. But I do think that this could be something that is awesome for you guys to be able to use. I'd be happy to have a conversation if anybody wants to reach out. Maybe we can have a deeper dive on any of this stuff here. All right, so we'll get out of the AI gallery. Any questions from anybody on kind of how this forecast is set up?
Scott, we do have one that came through.
Okay.
Can I access the ERP from a tablet or phone?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question and something that a lot of people have been asking lately. So the answer is yes, absolutely you can. It's all web-based, so anywhere you have internet access, you have access to this system. It is also device aware, so it knows if it's on an iPhone or a tablet or whatever system you're on. It knows what size screen you're looking at that on. So it's device aware and it'll adjust accordingly. So it's not like you're going to be looking at something on your computer screen and then they pop it over to your phone and I got to zoom in and move my hand across the screen all over just trying to get to finish a sentence, if you will. So yeah, absolutely great question. Any other questions?
Not yet, no.
Okay, perfect. And Scott and Jim, I mean, I'm sure, how helpful would this have been years ago when you guys were doing it with pen and paper or going back and having to look at all those transactions for which months were the hot ones?
Scott, this is great insight. How I wish when I was in distribution all those years that I had this kind of digital transformation. It would have helped us reduce our labor, improve our accuracy, and give us real-time visibility. Just a note on your accruals that you have to track. There's really no need for third-party add-ons with this system.
No, all right, and that's another good point, Jim, is everything's integrated. I don't need to have somebody else come in and have a forecast system that's attached to, it's all right here in front of you. So yeah, good observation. Yeah, no, everything is right here integrated within the system. So all right, there's no other questions on that. We'll keep moving forward here, and we're going to go into kind of the rebates and billbacks piece here. So let's go into our customer rebate first. Again, like I said earlier, we're going to kind of be talking about that Thanksgiving Day promo. So I know we've got turkeys and maybe that's something that's kind of on your minds now. Hey, I need to start talking to my customers and I need to get that committed forecast from them. How many are they going to get? And then what are we going to offer them accordingly? So we've kind of set one of those up, but I'll walk through and kind of show you how to set one up, and then as well as how we've got ours set up for today's demo. So we've got ours set up for our customer rebate for Thanksgiving. If I just click it but don't actually open it up yet, you can actually get some of that key information. So we've got our accrual amount, so how much of our customers accrued up to this point. So we're going to owe at this point up to $105. I mean, this may be early, maybe your customers aren't putting in turkey orders just yet, but I wanted to have some data in there to show you guys. So let's open this up. Everything's good. All right. So we've got it. You're going to have a rebate or customer rebate net number. So how are you going to identify that, as well as a name? So we've got ours is Thanksgiving, so I know exactly which rebate I want to go in and look at. Then you've got plan type below that. So we've got ours set up as a promo rebate, which makes sense. But then sorry about that. We've also got this reporting, and that's kind of like a what if scenario. So this isn't going to actually post any data, and it's not going to accrue actual numbers that you need to pay back, but you can almost do it as a what if scenario. So that's kind of a cool option you also have here. And then when do we want to accrue that? So we have our setup for upon invoice, but you've got upon shipments and receipts or upon paid invoices. So depending on when you want that amount to accrue, can be set up there. Everybody sets theirs up against, that's kind of the nuances of the food business. Everybody sets things up just a little bit differently to get that competitive edge. So another good option. You've got almost options for every one of these selections here. Then we've got a start and end date. So when do we want to start this promo and when do we want to end it? So I've got mine set up probably a little early right now, but again, if I had it set up later, there wouldn't be any transactions in the system. So we've got our set up for 3/21 to 11/23, so just a few days before Thanksgiving. If that store hasn't put in an order that close to Thanksgiving, they're either probably not going to be able to get it, or if they're not going to be able to get them out on the store before Thanksgiving. So anyway, so that's kind of our start and end dates. You're more than welcome to set that up any way you'd like. And then we've got our date type. So when this ends, is it upon the posting we have ours set up, or when the order was taken? So again, kind of how you like to do it. We do ours upon posting date. And then kind of above here, you've got your balance. So what am I going to owe my customers? I owe them $105 up to this point. And it's a running tally. So every time an order comes in with the items that are part of this rebate, it'll start to accrue and add money to that. Then we've got our selection. So are we doing a bill to or sell to? So we're doing a bill to because we're billing our customers. Who gets this promo? Another really huge feature here. So we have ours set up for all customers, anybody buying this item. But what you've got is specific customer. So you only want it to go to one very specific customer. You want it to be within a price group or a customer group. So if you rate your customers, maybe this is only an A customer is going to get this promo, or whatever the case may be. So again, multiple options there. And then you've got your item selection. So we've got ours set up for specific item. Again, similar to the customers, you've got item categories, a manufacturer, all items, a vendor number, item group. You've got multiple options here, but we've got ours set up for a specific item. So we wanted to make sure we were keying in on that one specific item, which is going to be our turkeys for today. Then you've got, it's by quantity and by case. So quantity or amount, it could be in dollars, but we're going to do by quantity. And then our unit of measure. So we're doing this by case. So then kind of below that, we would continue to set this up, and we've got our customers who's getting this in other versions. And I'll show you kind of on the vendor side, but that you would have, if you had this selected to a customer group or a specific customer, you would outline that in this line here. We've got ours set up to all customers. System knows what we selected here. There's nothing else we need to add to the customer side. And then we've got from the items. So again, we had it selected for specific item. So we've got it set up for this butterball turkey. Again, it's in case by quantity, and they're getting $1 back per case bought. So this is kind of where that key piece comes in with their committed forecast. They agreed to buy so many, and if they don't make that mark, they don't get the rebate. So again, they've got until 11/23 to hit that amount that they said they would buy when we had that conversation back in June or March, whenever you would have had that conversation with them. And they committed to they would buy 300 turkeys before the end of the rebate to make sure they get that $1 back. If they don't, then we can deduct that part of the accrual from what we would owe them. If they hit it, then they get their money back. Obviously, that's what we agreed upon. But then we can kind of see that. So we can actually drill into this, and we can see kind of who's bought what. So as you can see here from our source number, I've got one customer that's had 2 orders of 70. I can do that math. That's easy. And I've got another customer that did 35. But then I get into the end of the year, and this customer's got 25 transactions, and they're not even numbers. Or maybe this wasn't a 1-to-1 rebate, it was a 38 cents off a case. That math starts to get real hard, and I really want to know quickly and accurately how much they've bought. So this is a nice breakdown to see who's bought what up into this point, but it's maybe not the best way to go about seeing that. So let's go back to our home page here. We'll actually go to item sales by customer. So we've got our numbers. So this will be our item number. So it was 102,394 Butterball turkey. And we've got our date filter. So again, as we start getting closer, or maybe it's the 24th, and I need to know what I owe people. So we've got it for 3/21/22 all the way through 11/23/22, and we're going to preview that. And then I'll zoom in just a touch here so we can see that a little bit better. But then it'll actually give me an exact breakdown by cases, how many they've bought. So we've got that Spotsmeyer's that had the 70 cases, and then we've got the other one is Treasure Bay Casino. They've bought 35. And this will be a much longer report, but it'll break it down by which customer bought how many cases of that specific item. So at the end of the month, or the end of the rebate, I can go up. All right, so here's what Spotsmeyer's agreed to. Did they hit it? Yes, they did. All right, and then we can go and give them back the dollar per case. In this case, it's an easier number, but again, that's just a nice way, a nice breakout to see how you can tell exactly who bought what and of how many. So, questions on any of that? I know that was kind of a lot so far, and then we'll get into a vendor side as well. No? Okay. Perfect.
Nope, none have come through yet.
Perfect, thank you. And again, I know we're going through this at a very high level. I know I may be going through this a little quick. Please do not hesitate to unmute yourself and ask a question, or type it in. Angie will read it off. If you want to be a little more anonymous, that's up to you. But please do not hesitate to reach out or to ask. Or if after this you want to reach out again, send us an email with your questions. Totally happy to answer. We'd love to jump on a call maybe and discuss a little bit more, or maybe dive in a little deeper. So just wanted to put that out there for you. Let's jump into a vendor rebate. It's going to look very similar to the customer rebate as far as setup is concerned. So again, we've got our Thanksgiving Day promo. We've accrued $30. This is what our vendors are going to owe us, because we've set one up for the turkeys again. So again, rebate number and name. You're up to you. Name it whatever you'd like. Again, we've got the promo rebate, or you've got it as a commission or reporting against a what if scenario. When it's going to accrue, so upon invoice is still the same, or we could do it upon shipments and receipts, paid invoices. It's all going to look real similar. Got a start and end date, so it's going to be, we can buy these turkeys up till the 27th, and we can buy them whenever, but we don't get the rebate back on until we buy them till the 21st or after. Date type, still posting date, or it could be order date. Again, Thanksgiving Day promo. You can see our balance. So what we've accrued up to this point, we've accrued $30. So we're guaranteed $30 back from our vendor, unless we also have a committed forecast with them, and then in which case we have to make sure we hit that number. Again, keeping us accountable, keeping our customers accountable, so everybody's going to make their dollar at the end of the day. Again, source selection. So we're doing a buy from rather than a pay to. We're buying from a specific vendor. Again, you've got all vendors or vendor groups. We're doing it from a specific vendor. We're buying all of our turkeys from one vendor. Item selection. So we've got from specific item is what we've got it, because we're still going to have it set up as that butterball turkey. Again, you have all items, item category, manufacturer, vendor number, item groups. So we're going to keep ours at specific item. Again, quantity by kit and cases. So number of cases that we buy from them is how we're going to accrue this. Again, I know this wasn't on the last one because it was all customers, but same thing here. So we've got our source code is .foods. That's who we are buying, our specific vendor that we are buying from. Again, butterball turkey, case and by quantity, and then but our multiplier value then on the vendor side is 2. So we're giving $1 back per case sold, but our vendor's going to give us $2 per case bought. So kind of another way we can integrate that in and capture those back end dollars. And then so as you can see, we've got our accrual amount. We can kind of click in here and it'll bring us to the item ledger, and you can see where we're getting all this, or all the orders that we've had in so far. again, obviously with this being a specific vendor that we're buying from, all of these are going to look very similar, but then you've got your amounts, so you can go through and look at when and where you bought all those and the amounts that came in, so you can kind of, again, accrue up to that. All right, don't believe there's anything else on here. And then I'll show you that we can also do the same thing from the vendor purchases, so I can track exactly how many I've bought. So we're going to go with the Butterball Turkey again, and then we'll just hit preview. You can see that we've bought 27 cases from Dot Foods. Again, this I didn't put the date filter in this time, but obviously some of these were before the promo, but this will, if I put in that date filter, it would show just the ones that that I had bought during the promo that we have set up. So again, just kind of zoom in, I guess I can see a little bit better than you could. Just again, kind of knowing, it gives you a good idea, gives you a nice simple report to know you kind of where you stand as far as how that rebate's going to come back to you, and the money you can expect at the end of that promo. Right. That was kind of, I know it was high level, I know it was quick. I'd love to spend more time on this if anybody has questions or they want to stick their hand up and ask what they would like to spend more time on. But if not, that was everything I had planned to show today. If you have questions, please type them into the chat. And with that, we'll go back into our presentation with the slide deck if nobody has questions, Angie.
We do have a couple. We could save them for the end if you'd like, or we can go over them now.
Yeah, we can save them for the end. We do have a question section, so give people maybe a little more time that are still trying to type in those questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Alrighty. Let's go back into slideshow. Maybe. All right.
Thanks, Scott. Why Inovia Consulting? As you will see on this slide, we have a proven track record with Microsoft, and they recognize us as a top 5 gold level partner. Our expertise is implementing Dynamics 365 Business Central. We have over 35 years of experience with successfully assisting our clients. Our food team has 90 years of experience in the food industry. We are a partner that has your best interest in mind, with stability and expertise within our organization. Commitment to Excellence Awards. Our customers have achieved remarkable results, including earning 5 Microsoft Dynamics Customer Excellence Awards. These awards recognize Microsoft customers that achieve outstanding success with their Dynamics ERP system. We are the leading partner within North America of all ERP implementations. Our values and guiding principles are led by demonstrating an open door, open communication, and open minds policy.
Yeah, Jim, it's funny that you have that that leading implementations in North America stat on this thing, because I just found out that was true the other day. I didn't have any idea that we were the leader in North America for Business Central and NAV implementation. So, which I just was crazy to me, but that's just proves a testament to who we are and who Inovia is.
Yes, and to add on that, with our Power BI and apps team,
Sorry.
that's another service that we can offer our clients. This slide here just talks about our approach to customer care. This is something that we really take very serious, and so our premier support team is second to none and is committed to providing you with a great customer experience. In addition to our premier support team, As I mentioned, we have a Power BI team as well.
Thanks, Jim. And then in professional services, we're consistent, as you can see in this depiction here. Initiation and planning, design, approval, execution. And what this means to customers is that we have a process. And the reasoning behind the process is with your best interest in mind, so that we avoid surprises by utilizing this process for planning, design, and approval and execution. Allows us to help keep your overall total cost of ownership down and good communication between both organizations.
Yeah, so Angie, I think we're ready to field those questions then.
Okay.
If I could just add one more thing, Angie, sorry. If
Sure.
anybody, while we're kind of going through these questions, has others, please type them into the chat or unmute yourself and feel free to ask. Once Angie's kind of gone through the ones we've got, we'd love to answer your questions. So thank you. Sorry, Angie.
No problem. First question is, how long does it take to implement?
A great question, Angie. Usually 8 to 12 months, depending on the complexity of the client's project.
Okay, thank you. And can I use my Outlook calendar to keep myself on track of tasks with the system?
Yes, given that Microsoft is the developer of both BC and your Office tools, they are one and the same. Office is integrated within your system.
Okay. And the last question that I have that came through is, do you have e-commerce options for me?
We do. That's a good question. We have a variety of e-commerce solutions. We would determine what best fits your business needs and then make that recommendation. We have several that we work with to accomplish your goals.
Okay, great. I believe those are all the questions that have come through for today. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your Innovia account manager or any one of the food team members, and they would be happy to get those questions answered for you and addressed. So I just want to thank the food team for the presentation today and for everyone on our webinar. And if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in and spending a little time with Innovia to learn a little bit more and see how we can hopefully help your business grow.
All right, and you can also check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's innovia.com/events. We also have a training workshop page at innovia.com/workshops. We have a variety of workshops to fit your role, so check those out and see which one is right for you and your team. And if you haven't heard the latest Innovia Conversation podcast, we have a library of podcast episodes for you to listen to. You can learn more on our podcast page, and that's innovia.com/podcast. So browse the selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And don't forget about our customer conference page, innovia.com/conferences. Our customer conference is coming up on May 4th and 5th at the University of Notre Dame. This is a free event for you to attend. Make sure you read up on all the details and register today so you can come and meet our food team, the Innovia team, and our ISV partners and clients. All right, well, we thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon at another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone.